All right, so now we can pull it together. We've determined what the cost of debt is based on either talking to your friendly investment banker or looking at comparable companies and bond ratings or looking at evidence of rates from the financial statements. Oh, by the way, on the financial statements, we'll do that in our workshop. I'll talk about generic approaches, and that's why I wanted you to bring in your statements. We'll then look through the notes to your financial statements and see evidence of what the existing debt costs. All right, so we have these components now. We have debt, we have preferred stock, we have a common stock. And so when we weight them, remember it's weighted average, it should be based on the market value. So it would be the market value of the debt, the market value of the preferred, and the market value of the common. If we don't have the weights, then we would then need to use book value. And this often occurs in debt. So sometimes debt, particularly if it's a bank loan, you don't have a public market for bank debt, then you could use book value. But other than that, it's dangerous to use a book value for any form of equity, preferred or common. So in general, we want market values. If we have to compromise, we will compromise on debt to use the book value of debt. But it's very dangerous to compromise on equity. You're sure to be off because the market values are often quite different from the book value of equity. All right, let's try it out. So we have this fact circumstance. We have a stock price of 50 and there are 3 million shares outstanding. We have a $25 million preferred stock that has been issued and there's $75 million of debt. And we'll just give you the cost of capital at 10% for debt, 9% for preferred, 12.8% for equity, and since there are some components of debt, we need the interest rate of 40%, and now we could do the weighted average cost of capital. Again, let's hop into Excel. So finally we get to weighted average cost of capital, and this I just copied over from the slide so we can use it. So the first thing we're going to determine is the weight, or weights. And then we're going to determine the cost. And then we're going to determine the weighted average cost of capital. So we have 3 components with debt, we have preferred, and with common. Let's just make that a little bit bigger. And the weights, let's do the amount. And so the debt, we have 75 million. The preferred, we have 25. We're using book for that, you notice. And the common, we'll definitely use a market measure of $50 times 3. And so now we have the total market value estimate of capital. So that equals sum of the items above, 250. We can now do the weights, equals 75 divided by the total, lock it with F4, then we can copy it. And the total will be 1. And let's state those as percentages, more familiar form. So the cost of debt we were given was 0.1, the cost of preferred 0.09, cost of equity 0.128. The tax adjustment is only for one of them, and it's 1 minus 0.4. And so the after-tax cost would be 10% times that. For the others, there is no adjustment necessary, so just copy those over. And so now we have the after-tax cost of debt. Now we can do the WACC. So the WACC equals the percentage weight, 30%, times the cost after tax. And we'll do the same for the other 2. And the weighted average is simply when you add them together. And again, we'll use the formatting, percent. So the WACC is this number, is 10.38, which is comprised of 30% at after tax of 6, 10% at after tax of 9, and 60% common, weighted at 12.8. That's why it's a bigger number, because most of our capital comes from common stock. So that's how we do